No word today on the cause of a fire that's left 3 people with no place to call home. This fire started in a house on Schutrum Street. This is just off of Broadway on Buffalo's east side. Firefighters were called to the scene just after 6 this morning. No one hurt here, but this fire has caused a significant amount of damage to the home. The Red Cross now helping out 3 people who have been left homeless by this blaze. Today marks 1 month to go before the beginning of the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea. And for the first time in years, North and South Korea have held high-level talks that have resulted in a deal which will allow North Korea to send a delegation across the border to participate in the Games. The latest on the story today from ABC's Elizabeth Herr.
Breakthrough talks between North and South Korea with rare access provided to news media. Negotiators from the 2 rival nations coming together at the world's most militarized border. And for the first time in years, North Korea agreeing to send its athletes, cheerleaders, and a performance troupe to the upcoming Olympic Games. The North Koreans calling it a New Year's gift. For the South, a reassurance their games will not be disrupted. The South also tried to bring up the issue of denuclearization, but the response from their northern counterparts, nothing. The talks happening amid rising tensions with the U.S. over North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's growing nuclear arsenal. There is no guarantee Kim will not launch another missile in the coming weeks, with Pyongyang vowing to keep working to perfect a nuclear-tipped missile that could reach the U.S. For now, the reaction from North and South Koreans full of optimism. In a joint statement, North and South Korea also agreed to hold military talks to relieve military tensions, pledging to resolve national problems on their own. President Trump says he welcomes these talks and that if something could come out of this, it would be great for all of humanity. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
He is a singer with the classic American voice. He's going to be making a stop here in Western New York this coming summer. It's Sweet Baby James. You've got a friend in James Taylor. That's because he's coming to Buffalo. Taylor, along with Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Bonnie Raitt, will both perform together at the KeyBank Center here downtown this coming July. Tickets will go from between $70 and $100 per seat. They go on sale this coming Friday. Still to come here on 7 Eyewitness News at noon today, there is word now that the special counsel may want to question President Trump directly when it comes to the ongoing Russia investigation. And they're celebrating another national championship on the streets of Alabama today.
It's National Soup Month, and we're celebrating with a beefy favorite that won't disappoint. So grab a spoon and some crackers, because we've got plenty to share.
Here's the latest from Wall Street on this Tuesday, midday. The Dow is up by 120 points already. The Nasdaq has gained a little over 9 so far, and the S&P 500 up by 8 3/4. Business news today. Kohl's is reporting strong sales numbers for the holiday season we just went through. The retailer says it increased its sales by about 7% over last year. Also, other stores like JCPenney, Target, and Macy's all performed well. These numbers are providing more evidence now that department stores are learning to better compete against the online giants like Amazon. Now, the latest today on the Russia investigation. Special counsel Robert Mueller attended a meeting last month with President Trump's lawyers, raising the possibility that his office may need to speak with the president directly. The latest today from ABC's Kenneth Moulton.
President Trump in White House meetings today, but sources say there's still no word on when or if the president will meet with special counsel Robert Mueller's team.
We've done nothing wrong. Let's be open and get it over with.
ABC News has learned the man investigating Russia interference with the U.S. election and possible links to the Trump campaign alerted the president's personal lawyers. His office is likely to request an interview with the president.
If Robert Mueller asks you to come and speak with his committee personally, are you committed still to doing that? Do you believe that?
Yeah, just so you understand. Just so you understand. There's been no collusion.
Outstanding questions. Will Trump sit down to be interviewed, or will his legal team only allow the president to respond in writing? Mueller's team likely to ask about the firing of FBI Director James Comey. Was there any effort to obstruct the Russia investigation? What the president knew about the 2016 Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer set up by his son, Donald Trump Jr., and what was the president's role in crafting Trump Jr.'s misleading statement about the meeting? Mueller's wide-ranging probe has already resulted in a guilty plea from ex-Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who is now cooperating, and an indictment of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort on charges relating to financial and lobbying crimes, including conspiracy against the U.S. The special counsel has not sent a formal request for an interview, but we know the president and his legal team have been eager for this investigation to end soon. Kenneth Moulton, ABC News, Washington.
Big game last night, and we now have a new National College Football Championship. Yes, the Alabama Crimson Tide rolled over Georgia in a come-from-behind win last night. They trailed late in the game, 20-7, but then overcame that deficit in overtime. The final score 26-23. To celebrate, one of the Alabama players took a knee at the end of the game to propose to his girlfriend. And yes, she said yes. Alabama fans spilled out into the streets of Tuscaloosa to celebrate last night. But championships, no stranger to Crimson Tide fans. This is the school's 5th national title in 9 years. Here's what we're working on coming up all new tonight for 7 Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock. Carbon monoxide poisoning. It is a silent killer all year long, but more so during the winter months. We'll have some important advice for you to help protect you and your family this winter. That's later tonight, right here on 7 Eyewitness News, beginning at 5 o'clock. Our meteorologist, Autumn Lewandowski, tracking your most accurate forecast on this Tuesday as it warms up a little out there.
A little bit. We went from 0 and 20 to 30 degree below 0 wind chills to just about freezing. So it feels pretty good out there. As you're looking at the time lapse this afternoon, you can see where we have the ice boom in place, kind of keeping all the ice back. I was mentioning it at 81%, likely going down to around 60% after we get through the warm up. And on top of that, we're going to be seeing rain. Now we're going to talk about whether we're going to see some of that ice jam flooding, all the prevention that's being done for it. But we are going to warm up, and we have those issues when this happens in such a quick order too. 32 degrees right now. We're staying right at the freezing mark. So anything that we had the slushy snow yesterday and then everything kind of melted a little bit. And now we're going to watch these temperatures drop back down. When that happens, everything gets very slick once again. So expect that, especially into the overnight tonight. Wind chill values still on the chilly side. Low 20s for Buffalo, 17 right now in Jamestown, 16 in Olean. So we have those pockets where it's even feeling colder right now. And on 7 Super Doppler, there are pockets that are dealing with some sunshine. This right along the Lake Erie shoreline. You go from Westfield to Erie, PA, then you have some sunshine there. So it's working in. We're going to see some of that come on into western New York. A lot of us will still stay under mostly cloudy skies. There were a few flurries, and now we're dealing with mainly dry conditions for the middle of the afternoon here on 7 Super Doppler. And the weather stats for the day, we got up to 34 degrees. That happened just after midnight, and we're going to get down to about 20 degrees just before midnight tonight. So very average when you're looking at the temperatures, just not so much for the middle of the day where we're at freezing, but we're going to drop pretty quickly into the 20s once we get the sun to go down, if you can believe that one. Once we look at our afternoon, with the clouds beginning to clear more so as we head into the evening and overnight, that allows any heat that we had to escape. Radiational cooling ends up taking place. And as you look at the wider shot here, much of our Wednesday, much of our weather ends up coming from the west in a lot of these weather patterns. And that's what's happening. You're not seeing much happen from Chicago to Buffalo tomorrow. It's not until late in the evening that we're going to see some of these showers come on through. So we'll be in the mid-30s going into the middle of the afternoon. Spotty showers at best, more of a chance later in the evening as temperatures begin to rise into the 40s. By Thursday, we're above the freezing mark. We're going to have these spotty showers to begin early Thursday morning. Much of the day is going to be rain-free, and then we're going to see this come through as we get into the evening hours, some of which could be heavy, especially where we have the orange and the yellows a little bit south of Buffalo and leading into early Friday. It's all still rain through the early overnight Friday morning, and then you could tell pink, that's not too far away through southern Ontario, now grazing through Toronto by 7 a.m. That's when we're going to see the potential for some freezing rain and sleet and everything turning back over to snow and cold. So it's a short time frame that we are going to get the warm air in here, windy as well. Wet on top of that causes creeks and streams to rise very rapidly, and then the potential for that ice jam flooding. By the time we get to Saturday, though, really Friday afternoon and Saturday, everything stops in the melting phase and goes back to freezing, which would be a good thing. That potential for ice jam flooding, everything kind of seizes at that time, and then we stay in the teens from that point on. We'll then be in the 20s for the middle of next week, and then gradually warming up into the mid-30s by Thursday.
Ooh, what a couple of weeks we had, though. Ooh.
I know it. It was absolutely frigid last week, so this is feeling pretty good.
Very nice. Thanks, Autumn. Don't go away. Mr. Food's recipe of the day is coming up next. You're watching 7 Eyewitness News at noon. Here's what's trending on social media today. The Grey's Anatomy spinoff now has a debut date, but still no name. The new show will feature a Grey's doctor turned firefighter. The show will premiere March 22nd, and ABC executives hope to have a name by then, or they may just go with the joking title that the cast and the producers have been using behind the scenes, Blaze Anatomy. Upcoming Oscars host Jimmy Kimmel says he watched the Golden Globes to see how host Seth Meyers would deal with the subject of sexual misconduct. But he says it's hard to say how that issue is going to be handled 2 months from now during the Academy Awards. However, Kimmel says he is prepared for jokes about last year's epic envelope mix-up when the wrong Best Picture winner was announced.
From this day forward, you will become sparrows. Weapons in a global struggle for power.
And the web is buzzing about the latest trailer for the movie called Red Sparrow. Jennifer Lawrence stars as a former Russian ballerina who's forced to become a killer secret agent. It's an action thriller that hits the theaters here on March 2nd. Time now to check in with Howard on this Tuesday to see what he's cooking up for us in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Hey, Kelly, did you know that January is National Soup Month?
No.
Well, it is.
Nice.
You know, ever since I began making soups for my deli years ago, they've always been one of my favorite things to make. Everything from classics like chicken noodle and French onion to rich, creamy ones. So let me share with you one of the most popular soups we had on our menu. All we do is toss chunks of beef in some seasoned flour before browning them in a little oil. You see, browning the beef actually adds a rich flavor to the soup. Now we add in a good amount of beef broth, some barley, a few diced carrots, onions, and celery, and let it simmer until the barley and the beef are tender. And if you aren't familiar with barley, it's a grain that almost looks like oatmeal. It's packed with nutrients and is super versatile. And since every bowl is brimming with lots of beef and barley, all we need to do is pair it with some bread or crackers and dinner is served. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for deli-style beef barley soup, so you can make one of my deli's most popular soups right at home. And not only will this warm your soul, it'll warm your tummy. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a restaurant kind of way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. You love your soup, don't you? That dessert.
Get the latest weather alerts from the 7 First Alert team of meteorologists and the latest headlines from the 7 Eyewitness Newsroom by liking us on Facebook and following us on Twitter.